Hello everyone, I'm Tori Thompson and welcome to NSU where great things are happening. I'm here with Dr. Randall Webb and Dr. Maggio, who is now the Assistant Vice President of External Affairs, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about what's going on at Northwestern right now. How are you today, Dr. Maggio?
Great, Tori. Thanks for asking.
Good, good. So tell us a little bit about your new job and what you're doing there.
Well, Tori, about 3 months ago, I had the opportunity to move from Student Affairs over to External Affairs, back to External Affairs as Assistant Vice President for External Affairs for University Advancement. So I'm excited to be back and excited about the role.
And you've been in this sort of role before, correct?
I have for probably about 8 years, late 90s, early 2000s. I was initially alumni director, and then eventually I was director for advancement and the alumni affairs, and the executive director of the NSU Foundation and the alumni office. So it's exciting, but it's a little bit different now. I mean, it's exciting, but there's certainly been changes in these last 6.5 years, and there's still a small learning curve, but hopefully I'm able to bring some of the knowledge that we had before and create some new things for the office.
Great. And so we're used to you being the Dean of Students and have a lot to do with recruiting, and your job still has a lot to do with the recruiting office, correct?
Yeah, I think one good thing about this appointment this go round is not only am I with the alumni and development, but also the recruiting area does fall under my purview also. Of course, we have Jana Lucky, who's the director of recruiting at the university, who does a tremendous job with the recruiting, but it's exciting to stay having that under our auspices now also.
Well, we do miss you over in the recruiting office, so
well,
seeing you coming through the halls during the day.
I'll try to pop in every now and then.
Good, good. Well, tell us a little about one of the new programs starting up, the Foundation for the President's Circle.
Well, one thing I think you mentioned about maybe some of the changes that's happened since I was in that area before. A lot of the focus before, when we were trying to raise money for the university, it was really focused on certain areas. We really focused on raising professorships to help the faculty. We grew from about 8 professorships to 40 plus professorships at the university. This time, a lot of the focus is going to be on unrestricted funds. And when we say unrestricted funds, monies that folks donate that might not be dedicated to a certain area. In saying that, we revamped our President's Council, which is our unrestricted giving to the NSU Foundation, and we think some enhancements. We renamed it the President's Circle, and we now have layered giving. In other words, we have different levels of giving that people might give. Where in the past it was $1,000 would be a member of the President's Council. Now we have layers where they can start at $1,000 annual giving, and we move it on up to different levels. And we think this is an area that we can enhance the unrestricted giving to the university.
Okay. Now, Dr. Webb, why is it called the President's Circle?
Well, it's not because it's all about the president. It's because of the fact that it's all about them. That is, we want to show our utmost respect and appreciation for people who choose to be members of the President's Circle. And we want to know how important what they do is to the university. And what I should point out is that it's important to the entire university, because when we receive unrestricted gifts through the foundation or through the athletic association or alumni association, then those gifts enable us to do things we just couldn't ordinarily do, to promote the university and also to express appreciation to our alumni and donors in other ways.
Wonderful. And speaking of alumni and the Alumni Association, tell us about some of the events that are going on with alumni and that have taken place recently.
Tori, it's been an exciting spring semester and even moving into the summer. We had several of our regional alumni, a lot of places we call them after hours, where we will have either a dinner or a reception in different parts of the state and even actually out of state. Just this past weekend, we went to Washington, D.C. and had a gathering of Northwestern alumni along with other universities and their alumni for a big crawfish boil. But we've gone all over. And we think it's important to keep the alumni engaged, and this is just one way that we can go to their area, see what's important in those different cities, and bring a little bit of Northwestern to those cities.
And you also hosted the Golden Jubilee recently. I actually got to participate in that, and that was a lot of fun. I know that's a really great program that they like to put on.
Tori, that is probably one of the best programs that we do. I believe it's certainly from our aspect internally, it's certainly a joy to host. The Golden Jubilee is when we bring back our graduates, folks that have graduated 50 years ago. This is their 50th anniversary or their 50th class reunion. And we have a weekend that surrounds our commencement exercises every spring at the university. And this year we had over 70 people come back that were celebrating their 50th anniversary. It was just a great weekend. And
you actually got to give them their diploma.
Yes, it's such an honor for us, and it's exciting to them to think there they are in front of thousands of people in the Coliseum going through commencement like our normal candidates for graduation, except we're treating them very special by providing them a medallion and also their second diploma. And the thing to remember is that there's a lot more people at these graduations than there were at their original graduations. But one of the things that's so exciting to me about this is we get to spend a lot of time with them, and probably the quality time Brenda and I get to spend with them is at the reception dinner in the evening after commencement, so you get to talk informally to them. For example, a year ago, I was fascinated to meet just one person among these hundreds of wonderful people we've met over the years, Ted Burris. Ted was a mathematics physics major from Northwestern. He went to work for NASA because he had enough coursework in mathematics and physics. NASA designated him as an aeronautical engineer, and he wasn't the only one. Buddy Himes is another. There are others who work with NASA to help send up the very first satellite. And something else that Ted has done, he's come back to the campus, he's talked to our engineering technology students. He's working on a book, and we plan to publish his book about his experiences with NASA. And he's totally fascinating. And he came back with his roommate, James Woods, and this year they were both back again. So that's what makes it so much fun. What you learn about is, of course, for one thing, these people, the nostalgia probably means more to them than to any of our graduates, because we're focusing on them at the moment, and they get to see the campus as it is. But the other thing is we find out what wonderful alumni we have whom we may never have known, and we find out how successful they've been in life and how well they've represented Northwestern. It really bonds you to them.
It's really a great event to go to. I got to tour guide for one of the groups, and I loved listening to all of their stories and telling us where certain things used to be when they used to come to Northwestern. So I know it's very special for all of them. Still on alumni, how does someone become a part of the Alumni Association?
That's easy, and either way to do it. First of all, go to our website. They certainly can do that. Secondly, they can certainly call our office. We have a wonderful Associate Director, Haley Blunt, who really does the outreach with our alumni, so they can contact us at our office or on the website, and or stop by the Alumni Center. We have a pot of coffee on, and we have alumni that stop in if they're in town. A lot of local people stop in, but a lot of people when they're visiting campus come by, and we'd love to have them also.
Good. And Dr. Webb, your father had a really great impact on the Alumni Association.
He really did. And in fact, Daddy, having returned to Northwestern, he formerly had been a chemistry professor at Normal. His return to Northwestern is probably in large measure why I chose to attend school here, for which I'll always be grateful. But he headed up an operation under Dr. John Kaiser known as Alumni and Placement. He was responsible, of course, for alumni affairs, which was a natural to him because he knew all of them, and particularly school superintendents and principals throughout the state of Louisiana. And that helped with the other that had to do with placement of our graduates in good jobs. And so that gave me an even deeper appreciation for alumni affairs, although Daddy had been involved in alumni affairs as a volunteer and as president of the Alumni Association before that. But something Dr. Maggio may not even know, but it was during Daddy's days over alumni that the NSU Foundation, as we know it today, was created and chartered. So I'm very proud of that, because it makes it a lot easier to go out and try to raise money when you realize your family is tied inextricably to the efforts of the foundation.
Well, we're certainly proud of our Alumni Association. We're running out of time, Dr. Maggio, but is there anything else that you would like to tell us about the Alumni Association, or how to get involved? Or
Tori, I think the main thing is I just want to reiterate what outstanding alumni we have, and it's exciting to come back into this position where I was able to spend 8 years earlier and make a lot of connections, but to see a lot of our young alumni that are out there now, and probably more so than nowadays than in the past. People are a lot more mobile, so we have them certainly all over the country and even throughout the world. And it's exciting to get reconnected to some of these alumni. It's even more exciting to see them reach out and for their love and affinity for Northwestern, because it's a joy on a day-to-day basis that you receive emails and contacts from people that just want to see what's happening at Northwestern, and that's a lot of fun. So we invite everybody to get involved with the Alumni Association, and we want to let everybody know now more so than ever is the importance of our alumni and their support of our university.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Maggio. We really enjoyed having you.
Thank you, Tori.
And we are about to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You and her and all the other cousins would be having tea parties in her playhouse out back. Hi, I rehearsed trying to convey the right emotion, so please don't cause a commotion and mess me up. Thanks.
I spend countless hours moving with grace, so please be careful with flashing cameras. They can be distracting.
Grace, thy steps retrace, poor wandering one. I spend countless hours trying to perfect my pitch, so please silence your cell phones. I want to be heard.
Please adhere to the rules so we can put on our best performance for you.
Looking for a way to stay healthy and get into shape? Then come and join NSU's Wellness, Recreation, and Activity Center. The RAC contains 2 large gyms for basketball, volleyball, and badminton, racquetball courts, free weight room, strength and cardio room, group exercise room, and an indoor track. The RAC has a fully staffed service center and will serve all of your health needs. Come and start your lifestyle change today at the NSU RAC.
It could have been half a century ago.
Or maybe it was just last spring.
It doesn't matter how long ago you graduated, because here you're still family.
No matter where your education has taken you, or how much you think things have changed,
Northwestern is still home.
Across the country or around the world, your college classroom goes with you. The global campus of Northwestern State University is Louisiana's leader in online higher education. ENSU is ranked one of America's best values in multiple online programs, supporting bachelor's and master's degree. Today, we remain the state's largest provider of computer-based degree programs. Whether you're local or global, succeed with ENSU.
Welcome back, everyone, to NSU, where great things happen. I'm here with Dr. Randall Webb. How are you doing, Dr. Webb?
Wonderfully. Hope you're doing well today,
I'm doing
Tori.
fabulous. Thank you. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that are going on at Northwestern right now. I hear we have one of the best freshman class in a long time as far as enrollment.
You're right. This was a great year for student enrollment at Northwestern in terms of the number as well as the quality. we feel we began the year in the right way with a really banner freshman class, and I think these are students who will perform well academically in the main, who will become involved, and I hope I've encouraged them to consider being leaders, because I think everyone's a leader in one capacity or another. So it's been an exciting year.
Well, there are definitely plenty of ways to get involved in leadership on Northwestern's
Yes.
campus, for sure. Well, like we talked about with Dr. Maggio earlier, there's a lot of great things going on with alumni as well.
Yes, I am so glad to have him in that particular capacity. Like most other people at the university, we require they work a couple of full-time positions. That's essentially what he's doing, but this is part of a vision Jerry Pierce, the Vice President for External Affairs, and I had to go back to a model that probably dates to the 1970s, when alumni and development also meant student development. That is, student recruitment was part and parcel of that operation, and it helped us not only, or helped universities not only to raise money through alumni to support students through scholarships, it also engages the alumni, which we've done for the last several years, in student recruitment, and we want them to feel as though that they are an integral part of this university and its future.
Well, I think we've really got a great future as far as our new students and our alumni coming into Northwestern, for sure.
I agree with you. I think we've planted the seeds for a lot of opportunities for the future, and we'll just continue working it. I have the good fortune of traveling throughout the state of Louisiana and even into Texas, recruiting students, going to high schools, going to either homes or businesses or other places that alumni lease in order that we might honor students whom we've scholarshiped and their parents, and trying to ensure that they know enough about Northwestern, because if you know enough about Northwestern, you'll love it. We want them to know as much as we can about Northwestern. As you know, we want to then move them to Freshman Connection and, of course, to ultimately matriculation in the fall semester. We just had a wonderful Freshman Connection session here. The number of students and parents was so large we had to move from Maggio Recital Hall over to A.A. Frederick's. Huge crowd, and so we'll get a lot of new students out of that. They've already registered for classes.
That's great. They're all ready for the fall, aren't they?
Yes, we're ready to have them back.
Good. Well, we had a really exciting past spring with 3 of our NSU athletics teams making the NCAAs.
In fact, I think that the success of a university's athletics program is really very closely tied to the university's image, as well as the university's ability to attract revenue and particularly to attract good students. And this was a real good year, particularly in the winter and spring. Our volleyball team did an outstanding job. Our women's basketball team was coming on strong this year, made it to the tournament. We have high hopes for both those sports next year. Soccer is moving in that realm, but this year we did it in 3 sports. Men's basketball won the conference tournament championship, went on to represent the university nationwide at Austin, Texas, playing the University of Florida in the first round of the NCAA regionals. And then, not too far behind that, we had our wonderful women's tennis team, which is really an exemplar in student academic achievement, demonstrate their athletic prowess by making winning the conference championship in the tournament and representing the university in the conference as the University of Alabama at Tuscaloosa. And right on the heels of that, our softball team was hosting for the first time in years, we hosted the Southland Conference softball tournament here in Natchitoches on our beautiful campus in a brand newly renovated facility that still we're doing work on it, but it is so gorgeous. And Brenda and I were so very grateful to be there, to see us beat Sam Houston in dramatic fashion with a huge crowd here on the campus. And we went with Jerry and Regina Pierce to LSU to follow our team in the regionals down there. All of these programs, all of our other athletics programs are in the process of a strengthening, and it's a process that's going to ultimately lead, I think, to significant successes across the board. We won't win the championship every year. We won't be successful every year, but we're going to be there for the most part when the bell's rung, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, we also have a new football coach taking the reins this year, so that's very exciting.
We're honored to have Jay Thomas. I met him when Coach Pivotal brought him here for a recruiting visit one Saturday for players and parents, and he just let me talk to him, and he said he was thinking about hiring him as an assistant coach. I already knew him by reputation. He'd been a head coach at Nichols before, and seemed to really be good at drawing people like a magnet to support his program. And of course, at that time, I was just talking to him about Demon football in general. But I just think, for one thing, I think you're going to see an exciting team offensively. I think you're going to see a really well-disciplined defensive team. It's very telling in the spring game. I think there may have been 2 penalties, if that, and they weren't typically major penalties. So I hope that bodes well for the fall. And here comes soccer, here comes volleyball, and then we'll be back into men's and women's basketball. Track, we've had some performers this spring that have just outdone themselves, and I'm so proud of them and grateful for their efforts and their coaches' good work with them.
And you also did something special for the basketball coach, Mike McConaughey, at graduation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is one that means so much to me personally, because I have such an affinity for Mike McConaughey's family. My daddy helped recruit Mike's father to play basketball here, as well as Mike's uncles, and so it just came full cycle when we had the privilege of hiring Mike about 14 years ago. But at commencement, it's a wonderful thing when you can honor somebody connected with athletics, because some people don't associate athletics with academic success. But Mike has won a personal honor in that he now has 753 college basketball wins, which makes him the winningest men's basketball coach in Louisiana history. And that is all but startling. So we wanted to honor him in a special way for that. But something else that's probably even more important than that is the fact that during his years here as head basketball coach, it's hard to believe that about 85% of his basketball players have graduated. That's way above the national average. And Mike represents the university so well. He's a man of high honor and spirituality, and he's good for players. And I think that means a lot, but he's good for the university. This year, plays on national television against the University of Florida and the SEC school, interviewed by the New York Times, the Chicago Tribune, all of these things. It's just tremendous. You couldn't ask for more.
Well, we are doing some really great things at Northwestern here, aren't we? Academically and athletically.
Some of our people are doing great things, and I'm proud of them and grateful to them.
Good. Well, we're about to wrap up in a minute. Is there anything you'd like to share with us, or any last
Well, another
comments?
thing we did at commencement was honor one of the sweetest girls you'll ever meet, and that's Andy Nadora Stava. And Andy only graduated that day with a 3.9 plus GPA, summa cum laude, but she was over in Tuscaloosa at the tennis regionals. Her family had flown for the first time over for her graduation, but they had to be at the regionals, so we conferred her degree long distance in front of everyone. It was very touching. And she says she's coming back next fall to march again because it means so much to her. She's going to the University of Texas in their prestigious communications master's program. So that means so much when you can honor somebody who's given everything to Northwestern and has distinguished herself academically. She, like all these tennis players, I just love them because they don't get to go home and be with their parents like other students can. And so I appreciate them all the more for that.
They sure do put in a lot of hard work. I see them working out all the time. So
I try to support them every way I can, and their great coach, Pat Dubois.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We've enjoyed having you here at NSU, where great things are happening, and we look forward to seeing you next time.